Hey, good morning, my friends. Today is Wednesday, August 14th, 2024. I, of course, am Hammer with Originator Success here at the Daily Mortgage Rate Update, the only place on the web where you guys get to join me live each and every weekday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time, as I broadcast to you live on Facebook and on YouTube. If you're here this morning, say good morning like Mike Tebow. Good to have you. If you're hit button, tag an LO friend, share us in a group. You can also sign up for our written email lock advice at www.ratelockadvice.com, or you can take your phone and use this cool barcode over here if you'd like to sign up and get our text alerts to protect your pipeline and know what's going on each day. They're $7 a month. Keep you posted. Sign up anytime, cancel anytime. Check them out at ratetextalerts.com. And if you'd like to sign up for a text reminder that I'm going live each morning so that you don't miss any of the live show, go ahead and sign up at hmmr.io/reminder. Last but not least, go check us out at originatorssuccess.com. If you want to take advantage of the market we're going into where rates are moving lower, if you want to stay in front of real estate agents, we have an amazing solution, very affordable. Go check it out, originatorssuccess.com. So all of that said, let's say hi to our live folks. Who do we got here this morning? Let's see. We've got about 16 of you on, starting again with Mr. Mike Tebow. Great to see you, sir. Ron Siegel said today is National Creamsicle Day. National Creamsicle Day. Thank you for that, Ron. Appreciate that. I do like me a creamsicle, generally in alcohol form. Give me something with vanilla and orange flavor and alcohol. I'm in. Mallory Fodiatis, good morning. John Jones, Amy Blauser, great to have you all here. Randy Tickle, giddy up, sir. Yeehaw! Mr. Tickle, I missed seeing you this summer in Texas. I do hope that we get the vetted VA summer camp back on next year. I know they do want to do it again, and I hope to get to see you again. Mike Morano, definitely great to see you here, my friend. And yes, the CPI data this morning was more disappointing than the House of Dragons season 2 finale. I didn't actually watch it yet, but I've heard it was really just kind of a good morning, Ms. Yasmin Martin. Great to have you here. Rob Stewart, Candido Diaz, Garrett Knox, Almir Krivdik, Angela Walters, Tim Klyla, Cash Knees. Good morning, sir. Ron said he likes my version of a creamsicle. Yeah, with like schnapps and I don't know, vanilla vodka. I'm in for it. So, all right, my friends, let's get to the good stuff. Let me tell you what we got going on this morning here. Rate sheets are going to be a little bit better today than yesterday, just a little bit. And unfortunately, all of the improvements were really because of yesterday's gains in the afternoon, more than any improvements today. In fact, let me go ahead. Let's put this on a shared screen, and I will show you. No, I don't want that on there. I want this on there. So hold on a second. There we go. All right. And now I will share the screen. Share. Okay. So taking a look here, right down here, I have the 48-hour chart. See it down here in this bottom corner. And this was yesterday. Everything in front of this little dotted line that you can kind of see here. This was all yesterday. And you could see that pricing came out around 10 a.m. We were around 100.50. We ended the day around 100.67. Right now, we're flat around 100.67 as well. So the gains this morning flat on the CPI data. And I'll go into more detail on that in a minute. But we did improve from yesterday when a lot of rate sheets came out, and there were not a lot of reprices better. I'm curious, did you get a reprice better? Let me know in the comments. Yes, I did. No, I didn't. You can even just say yes or no. Thumbs up emoji for you did. Thumbs down emoji for you didn't. Did you get any reprices better yesterday afternoon? Not a lot of lenders repriced ahead of the data that came out this morning. So reprice risk on the day is low. It's not likely that we have to worry about losing too much ground from here, but we're also not likely to gain ground. And that changes my lock advice. So let me go ahead and update this. I put this out on the... There we go. All right. Oh, you know what? Let me grab that. And I'll put it on the little one too, the one down in the bottom thirds. Let me save that. All right, so lock advice for the day. Anything's closing in August at this point, I would lock. The only big report that we've got that we could say could possibly really help bonds at all and help rates and pricing would be the PCE inflation data. That's going to come out much later this month, and I certainly wouldn't be holding my breath for that. Not likely to see any huge improvement. Tomorrow, we're going to get retail sales data. If that data comes in at all strong, it's going to kind of push pricing away from where we're at right now. This is probably about as much of a sweet spot as we're going to get in the near term. I'm going to go ahead and let's share screen. Let's do the side by sides. Here you go. All right. So let's take a look at this together. This was my meme this morning that I put together, by the way. Hold on. Let me pull it up real quick. I put this meme up this morning. I made it because I was bored and I like my memes. And a lot of other people like my memes. They usually steal them on Facebook, which you're welcome to. You guys know how I am about that. This morning's bond market reaction to CPI inflation data. If there's anything that sums it up, it was this. Right now, it is currently flat on the day. It was down a few basis points. Then it was up a few basis points. Good morning, Anthony Ambrose. Good morning, Julie Lawrence. Benoit, Babu. Great to see y'all. Bobby Searson. Let me know if you guys did get any reprices better. Benoit said he did. Mike Thibault said he did. Anyone else get any reprices better yesterday? If you did not, say no. Let me know in the comments. But anyway, taking a look here, mortgage-backed securities flat on the day. The way that the actual CPI data came in, the key takeaways here are as follows. The core consumer price index, which excludes food and energy costs, increased 3.2 in July from a year ago. Still the slowest pace since early 2021. The monthly measure rose 0.2%, a slight pickup from June's surprisingly low reading. This came in pretty much as expected, but it would just markets not really loving it. Headline inflation climbed 0.2% from the prior month, 2.9% from a year ago. The core number takes out food and energy prices. The headline number includes everything, right? And shelter costs are the big thing. So there's an argument that part of the reason that markets are reacting this way is because of shelter costs. I don't really buy it. I don't think so. Shelter costs came in extra low last reading and came in higher this reading. The data did little to change overall expectations on rate cuts by the Fed over the coming months. Futures traded continued to show a full percentage point of cuts by year's end. For September, the odds of a 50 BIP are now less than 50%. It's a great time for me to show you. That's actually, yeah. So going into this data yesterday, and let me pop this that shows up on the bottom. Going into, come on. There it is. Going into this data yesterday, it was a coin flip between a half a point and a quarter point cut in September. After this data, markets now leaning towards the quarter point cut. So again, Mr. Siegel thinks we're going to see a half point cut. I think we're going to see a quarter point cut unless we get another jobs data that's really weak. Now, as you see down below, I am saying anything's closing in August to lock it up. I just think right now when we look at pricing and where we've seen rates, we've been at 6.54, 55, 52. The lowest that we got was 6.34. We were only there for a moment. It was a brief moment in time. Remember, on Friday, we got 6.4. That was when we got the jobs data. On Monday, went to 6.34 and then immediately shot back up to about 6.52. Pushed up a little higher, came back down a little bit. What that coordinates to when we look at mortgage bonds, I have to refresh this, but I'll come back to that. So when you take a look here, it went up a little bit, came back down. I think now we're going to see it kind of creep back up a little bit over the next couple of weeks. Retail sales data tomorrow, not likely to show any real weakness. And if it shows economic strength, that's going to contribute towards the idea that the Fed does not need to cut a half a point in September. And that's what I'm leaning towards, where I think things are going to go. So you can see we've gotten a bit of a rebound here, but I don't think it's going to go too high. Remember, we capped out with the jobs data. We ended the day at 100.91. We're at 100.70. We're only 20 basis points below that. The 10-year Treasury at 3.84 for yield, 3.84. Again, it popped all the way back up to 3.99 before dropping back down. We were down as low as 3.79, but it really didn't spend a lot of time there. The reality is that this 3.84 is a really, really low number. And I don't think we're going to get much lower than that without some help. So Bonds just not in a position to give a lot of gains. Again, very small reaction to this data this morning, and with nothing else there. So anything closing the next couple weeks, I would look to lock it up just to protect it. I think we're at a good spot with pricing. I think you're, catching really good pricing before it creeps a little bit higher. Anything is closing in September. Here's the deal. We've got the next jobs data September 6th. Now, if that were to come in weak, like the data we got at the beginning of August from July's jobs data, if we were to get that kind of a reading again, it's going to cause rates to improve. But that's a lot to gamble on, especially if you don't have time to recover. So you got to look at what loans are closing and when they're closing. If the loans are closing in the first week of September, you're going to want to be considering locking now. And again, you can cautiously float, but when I say cautiously, I mean consider locking. Because if I've got a loan that's closing in the next few weeks, there's not a lot of reason to believe that we're going to see that much improvement to rates and pricing. And if you are floating into it, you're floating to some events like maybe Jackson Hole next week. We're going to get the FOMC meeting minutes and Jackson Hole. Powell will be there. They'll be talking about different things. But if they do not give that vibe of a half a point cut, and right now market's pricing in a full point by the end of the year. Now remember something. The September Fed meeting, we're going to have a new dot plot. Last time the Fed did a dot plot, they talked about 2 rate cuts. They may look at 3, but I think they're probably going to stick to 2. I think we're going to see some cold water thrown on this. So, Lisa, thank you. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Mandy Kangas, good morning. Mike said I would lock and not buy any points. And that's a great comment, Mike. Guys, notice what Mike Thibault said. He said I would lock and not buy any points. You got to, of course, have that conversation with the consumer. How likely are they to refinance? How likely are they to stay in the house? Can you do a refi and maybe, give them a lender credit towards some closing costs this time so that you leave the door open? I am 100% of belief that you need to do what's best for your consumers, your clients, right? But I'm also of the belief that writing loans makes you money. And you want to be careful of EPOs. So having them put some points in the game does minimize EPO risk. Maybe you don't put a full point. Maybe you have them buy a little bit in on that. All right. So these are things that you've got to consider and talk about what makes sense. You can have them, pay a little bit of money and see if they recover that within a year. You got to run the numbers and look at rate sheets. You're going to see those different areas where sometimes there's a sweet spot. So you definitely want to look all into that. Julie said, I think a quarter. Let's see. Julie's talking about the Fed meeting. She thinks a quarter and then a 50 basis point cut next time if everything progresses normally. That may be, I could kind of get on board that, Julie, that they cut a quarter in September and then November, they may go to a half a point cut if things continue to move down. And then December go to a quarter point. And that's what markets are kind of betting on right now. When you look here, they're betting on 60% at a quarter point cut. And then they're looking for that half point cut here is the leader in November. Bring it up a little higher so you guys can see it. And then as we get to December, that goes to a full, another quarter point cut. So, but yeah, I mean, don't remember something, y'all. The world is not a fair place right now. Consumers may promise that they're not going to refinance. They're going to need to do what they need to do anyway. So as you're writing loans, remember that we are going into a slight, a rate reduction environment. And as much as we want to see rates continue to move lower, if we continue to get these windows like we do where they move lower, they hang for a while, they move lower, it's going to help minimize that risk of early payoffs and losing compensation. There's never a reason that you should be working for free or even have that risk. But unfortunately, that's the environment that you're in this industry these days. So, act accordingly, price accordingly. And you cannot force people to keep a loan. And I'm not saying that you should, but you definitely want to dig in and look at everything, and get everything in there. So, there's one thing I learned when I went broke in '08. When the industry tanked in '08, I went broke. I lost my house, lost my cars. I don't hide it. I'm very open about it, right? I claimed bankruptcy. I mean, I lost it all. And part of the reason that I ended up in that spot was because I was loyal to the company I worked for more so than to myself and my family. And I made decisions based on, trying to do the right thing for the company and help and those are things that affected me later. So just remember something. You got to look out for yourself in this environment. And you can still do the right thing, but there is no such thing as an absolute. You don't work for free and you shouldn't work for free. So be careful you don't end up working for free. Ron said, if we get a quarter point in September, we will not see a 50 in November or December. That would be saying the economy is getting worse and they waited too long. They won't admit their error. See, I don't know, Ron. I don't think that. I don't agree with that. I feel differently about that. They could say that they're dependent on the data and that the data is showing blah blah blah. They, everyone else would say they waited too long, but they don't have to say they waited too long. And they could just come out and say that they want to see signs that the economy is faltering and labor market softening before they took that. They wanted to go too far and come back. So you can spin it. All right, my friends, 16 minutes in. I'm going to wrap it up today. Hope you all are having a fantastic day. Really disappointed with this data. I don't think we're going to see anything magical that's going to make it, a great improvement through the day. Come on, there it is. So, I mean, we keep bumping up and going up a few basis points and dropping back down. I don't think it's going to take off, but I do think we have some room to improve a little bit as the day goes on. Maybe get a little bit of improvement. So cautiously float to start the day. But as I say below, I think it's a good time to lock up anything that's closed in the next couple of weeks. Take the money and run. Know when to hold them, know when to fold them. Anything's closing in the next 3 weeks or so, I would still be considering locking. Ron said, Danielle DiMartino Booth has a great thought today about the deferral mindset. People waiting for rates to drop. Once the drops start, people will come back into the market. Yeah. And Mike said we could say that since the quarter point helped, we want to help more and go the half. Yeah. I mean, they could absolutely say that. I agree with what Mike says, Ron, spinning it out there about how, that they need to speed up based on current data. It would make sense that they gives them more room to blah, blah, blah. They'll spin it. So, all right, y'all, have a great one. And I will see you mañana. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.